Welcome everybody to the weekly WP Roundup with BJ Keeton. That's me. Every Friday afternoon we get together and we talk about the best news, the best tutorials, and the best resources that were published about WordPress this week. So if you have anything that you need to ask, any kind of questions that you have, feel free to throw them in the comments. Make sure that you follow along with the links in the description of this video so that you can make sure that you see everything that we're talking about. We never get to all of the links in the description, so you'll be able to open those up and come back later and check out anything that seems interesting to you. So thank you for joining me, taking the time out of your busy Friday afternoon to kind of relax, talk about WordPress, and hopefully make some friends here in the comments. So I'm seeing that there are comments coming in. For those of you who are not familiar with the show, who may be tuning in for the first time, we do our best to have a very active comment section. I do my best to interact back and forth. So you'll probably notice that I'll get distracted by a comment every now and then. But I consider that a good thing, that we have a community who wants to talk and really interact like this. So like I said, if you have any questions or anything that you want to bring up that happened this week in WordPress, please just throw it in the comments and let's talk about it. And if you miss any of the stream, if you have to cut out early, this will always be archived on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel where we stream live. So hi everybody on in the comments here. I'm seeing from the UK. I'm seeing Rock Falls, Illinois. That's fantastic. I'm seeing everybody. I see Donald asking if we're enjoying tennis, and I haven't watched any tennis lately, but I need to. I love me some tennis. It was one of the first sports that I ever actually liked. So it'll always hold a special place in my heart. And you mentioned on YouTube, the first mention of it this week, Divi 4.0. It will be coming. It is what's going to include the header and footer builder, as everybody's wanting, and we are in the planning stages of launching that. So all we can say is soon, because that is all I know right now. But it will be soon. David asks about the WooCommerce modules. As far as I know, David, right now the plan on the WooCommerce modules is that they are probably going to be the next, not the most upcoming update, but the one after that, if everything holds to the last schedule I saw. I'm not sure if it will stay that way, but it should be fairly soon, because that's in the final stages of QA, and as far as I know right now, we're looking at global defaults and WooCommerce modules as being the next two that are being released. So we should see those within a couple of weeks, is what I'm crossing my fingers on, because those are going to be great. That's not saying anything may happen during the final QA stages, but the last that I heard about that, those were the next two upcoming, and should be out soon, very soon, within the next couple of weeks, if everything goes, according to plan. And yes, Donald asked if that's before 4.0. Yes, that will be before 4.0. We need to get some groundwork with global default specifically to make sure that everything works right in the theme builder. I think that they're working on getting kind of fundamental and foundational features in on Divi right now in the 3.25 range before we can move into 4.0 just for compatibility and solidness' sake. But that will be before 4.0 with both of those two. Like I said, I don't know the timeline on 4.0. I just know that the launch is in planning right now. So yeah, I see. I didn't know, Uncle Social, that Illinois was the home of the first Ferris wheel. That is awesome. I love Ferris wheel. And I see Tobias. I didn't know, Tobias, you were from Denmark. That's fantastic. That's awesome. I've always wanted to go to Denmark. That's awesome. I didn't know that was where you were from. And so I see David Flannery asking on YouTube, before I dig in on the news, is anyone else having trouble with text turning white in text boxes? Um, I wish that I had that problem. I've actually had the opposite problem of when I wanted it to be white, I couldn't get it to be white. So I've had to go in and adjust the text color in the tiny MCE for some reason. My global default, not global defaults, my CSS had always messed with that, I think. But I've not seen that one. But it's one that hopefully somebody else has seen and had an issue with that. If not, throw that at the support team and open a ticket, because that might be a plugin conflict or something like that. So yeah, I want to move in on the news. To start out with, the first one I just want to briefly mention is WP Beginner. One of the bigger websites, the bigger WordPress websites out there, is 10 years old. It's crazy to think that they launched 10 years ago, but I'm sure that everybody has visited them for something or another. They provide really high quality tutorials and resources for people, and they posted yesterday that it was the 10th anniversary of their brand and their launch. So that is really kudos to them. That is a big milestone, and we're really, really happy for them having made it to 10 years down the road, because like I said, that's huge. They have also announced that they now have a Facebook group. So if you're on Facebook interacting with the Divi theme users Facebook group, which you should be, there's a link on the main page of elegantthemes.com. It is growing every single day. It's great that WP Beginner now has one as well that they're calling WP Beginner Engage, and I joined it this morning to see what's up. So I'm excited to see about that. I know some of you aren't Facebook users, but those of you who are, you should be able to get some use out of that one, and from our Divi theme users, for the shameless plug. They're also putting together a giveaway. I'm trying to scroll down to get to the updates about the giveaway, where if you go through all of the clicks, you join the WP Beginner Facebook group, follow them on Pinterest, Twitter, all of that kind of stuff, where you visit their Facebook page, you're entered in to win various different prizes. And if you're like me, you end up doing stuff like this just in the hopes that you'll get drawn for something. So there are 11 ways to enter, and I wanted to make sure that you guys had the opportunity to click on this very first link under news and read through it, see the awesome stuff that they've done over the years, and enter to win stuff in their contest. According to the timer on there are 6 days, 8 hours, 48 minutes, and 8 seconds as of right now to click through that and enter. So Uncle Social says that it's being run on RafflePress, that the plugin that's being used to do that, and it looks like an awesome plugin. I've never used it. I've used Gleam, Gleam.io, and I've used Rafflecopter. I've never used RafflePress, but it does look like it's a pretty interesting one. That's one that I haven't had to run anything, so it's good to have the options of doing that. Because I'd written an article, it may have been in 2017, about how much giveaways can promote your brand, that if you're working in marketing, that giveaways get you so much engagement. So we are very big proponents of giveaways here at ET. So that was awesome. I'm really proud of them. The next one I wanted to just bring to your attention, and this is not news per se, but it was something that we published this week that I wanted to make sure that everybody was able to do. So this is why you should upgrade to PHP 7 now rather than later, because you don't have to be in PHP 7 right now. Don't freak out, don't fear. You still can be WordPress 5.6. But you really should update to PHP 7, because we have a discussion on here pretty common about making sure that your WordPress is fast enough, that your websites are quick enough to load. And I really think that the PHP versions make a big difference in that. So if your host has not updated you to set PHP 7 and you're still on 5 point something, check out this article and make sure that you think about contacting them about an upgrade. You'll see some really good reasons in this article on why to do that. So the next one under news, and I was really excited about seeing the update for June come out, that Raquel posted the Divi Meetup Network update. And I'd mentioned, I don't remember if it was last time or the week before, but I mentioned the growing Divi Meetup Network, where we've got a lot of official Divi meetups all across the world right now, and they're just growing. We have a lot in the pipeline, and we're looking at the numbers here. We have 2,800 total members across the entire network. There are 31 total groups right now. That's not saying that there are only 31 ever going to be. We're having so many in the pipeline right now. Like Raquel has on here, the new group pipeline is that we have 20 working out the details on top of those 31 that are already existent. So we're super excited about that. So I think that's really awesome. There are links to apply to become a meetup organizer. So if you're interested in doing that, please click on that. If you want a meetup around you and there's not one, and you can also click the link and see which ones are around. But I really wanted to point out most specifically is just let you know which ones are out there right now that are new as of June, so that those of you near some of these areas will be able to get to them and get the and make friends. I see that there's a question from David on YouTube asking if there's one coming to Chicago. I honestly don't know, but I'm going to search real quick before I move a little bit forward. It says no events were found in Chicago. If I could click on the map, I don't see one in Chicago, Raleigh, North Carolina, Columbus, Ohio, which I'll get to, and maybe the closest, and that's not terribly close. So not right now. There's not one in Chicago, but there might be one in the pipeline. I don't have any info for that. And two, you can apply and lead one, which would be absolutely fantastic, because I know there are a lot of users in the I just completely lost my train of thought. I know there are a lot of users in the Chicago area, so we'll be able to have that. Right now, the Divi Salt Lake City in Utah is getting up and running, so Dustin Olson runs it. There is a, I'm going to mispronounce this, so forgive me, Mahasana, India, Mahisana. I'm really sorry for anyone I'm mispronouncing that. But that one is running. Tirtak Patel, maybe, I'm not good with names, is running that one. London, Ontario in Canada is getting one, or has one now, so that you guys can check it out. And Heather Peel is running it. Port Harcourt in Nigeria is getting one, so if you're near there, that will be an awesome one. That I'm not even going to begin to butcher this gentleman's name, but I believe he goes by Chucks, so he is running that one in Port Harcourt. Our very own Nathan B. Weller, our content manager here at Elegant Themes, and my supervisor, you've probably seen him around on a lot of the streams and all the Facebook groups and everything. He is actually hosting one in Columbus, Ohio. So you have, if you want to have a meetup run by one of the team, one of our team, Columbus, Ohio is one of your best bets, because Nathan's going to be running it. And there is one also in Phoenix, Arizona, which has Raquel Landefeld, our event coordinator, who is a member of that one, but not running it, but she's there and putting together all of them. We've announced that there is one in Las Vegas, Nevada. So if you're near Las Vegas in the United States, there's one there. There is one in Mumbai, India, run by Gaurav Sharma, I think is how it's pronounced. He has 15 years of experience and of doing web design and digital marketing, so that one should be fantastic. And then, like I said, Divi Phoenix is getting kind of a revamp. And then Destin, Florida, the 30A area in the Florida panhandle of the USA, right on the Gulf there, is getting an update as well. Joy Todd is running it, and they met the last time at the craft beer bar. So if you're down that in that area, either vacationing or living, there might be something there. And like I believe someone in the comments here said, David Flannery says, Milwaukee is the closest to you. It's only 4 hours away. You know, I didn't realize that Milwaukee was closer to Chicago than Columbus was. So that's how much I know about like the Midwest area. I always get like distances confused. But yeah, there is one in Milwaukee, and it's run by Kimberly Hughes and Tracy Champagne. That one actually had an update in this one as well. So 4 hours is a bit to go. So I think that one's awesome. Or I think that is a bit long to go, even though that one's awesome. So hopefully we'll be able to get one closer to you. There's some in Divi, New York City that we've got. And then I believe it was Donald who mentioned it last week, that Northampton, New Hampshire has one with 27 members in it. So run by Jeffrey Litofsky. And it is the picture just looks like it's going to be great. So I'm really excited about all of these. And like I said, you can apply to become a Divi meetup organizer. There's a couple of buttons in this post. And then there is a link in there that you can also check on that Uncle Social actually put in the live chat on Facebook. That is meetup.com/pro/Divi, and that will get you to be able to search all of our networks to see where the thing. And Donald, that wasn't you that mentioned that. I could have sworn it was. I'm so sorry. I could have sworn that was you talking about New Hampshire. Somebody was like, "Oh, that was me," and I'm sorry, I messed that up. But there are a lot of Divi meetups. Like, that's one thing that I want you guys to take from this. That's why I wanted to mention this, is that you guys know that there are 31 right now, and that there are even more coming along. And I see somebody, let me scroll up just a little bit, that Donald Derp, it's hard to get to a meetup in a small place like where I live. There's no meetup in Ireland or the UK. That is true. I'm kind of amazed that there's not, because I know that we have a pretty significant UK presence, and I know that I've seen a lot of people talk about being there in Ireland. The ones I see on here are Paris, France, Divi in Irun, Spain, and then Valencia, Spain are the ones I know, and that's a pretty significant travel for you, I know. And then Michael asked, in Europe, London. No, that was London, Ontario, Canada. So that was, I got confused on that one as well whenever I was reading through the post this week. I was like, wait, what? And I was just really confused until I realized that's what it was. The meetups, there's so many of them, and I see that Tobias said that we have almost 1,000 members in the Divi Denmark Facebook group. Holy cow, that is amazing, Tobias. That is great. Now what you need to do is apply for a meetup group and get those 1,000 people in a room every month and be able to interact and network in person too. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But that really is fantastic. That is awesome to see 1,000 members of just the Divi Denmark Facebook group. That is great. So I'm very happy about that, and I'm very excited about the meetup program that Raquel is putting out. That it is just so good, and we have so many good things coming, and we're getting swag packs coming up. We're going to be talking with organizer. She is. I can't say we because I'm not involved in that. But she's getting like swag together with different kind of stickers and things like that sent out first, and just different kinds of things to really incentivize people for getting together and being a part of the Divi Nation. So that one's really awesome. Oh, and you already had a meetup, just not an official one. You had 20 people there. That's awesome. That really makes me so happy. And that's one of the reasons that we wanted to do this official meetup network, is because there are a lot of unofficial Divi meetups out there. There are people getting together and working with WordPress meetups and Divi meetups and everything else out there. And we really wanted to be able to help facilitate bringing people together, because that was that's kind of one hard thing for people to do who aren't event organizers, is doing that kind of thing consistently without an infrastructure, and we really wanted to help out with that. So if that's something that you're interested in, anybody, check that out. The meetup groups are really, really cool. And Daryl Jordan says we need swag, and I agree. I love swag. I love Divi swag. My notebook has a Divi sticker on it. I just keep a Divi sticker on my on my desk right here sitting. I don't know why. I just love stuff like that. So the Uncle Social says the weekly WP Roundup should go on a world tour, BJ in a different country every week. That is wonderful. If anybody would like to start a GoFundMe for sending me on a globe-trotting live stream, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, I don't think I can afford that. But yeah, Daryl, the Divi stickers, this one actually came from WordCamp US in 2017. I'm pretty sure that we will have some this year at WordCamp US. So hit up one of our members there, and we should have swag like that when we get there. Not making any promises, because I'm not the one who does it, but I know we had a bunch last time, so I would think we will again. And I'm glad I'm not the only person who gets really excited about stickers. So I see Kieran on Facebook that says, I was quite impressed with myself this week. So this is making me really happy already, because I love people talking about what was going on in WordPress in their week. Spoke to the lovely guys at ET Support and needed a Getty image, type image license calculator native in Divi. Oh, wow, that is complicated. Apparently it could be done. So I didn't give up. I used the conditional logic in the contact form so that not only does it give a price, but automatically emails me so that I know the specific license clients want. All hail the power and versatility of Divi. You should be proud of yourself. I talk about Jason and Donietta and their Divi wizardry all the time. And Kieran, you are white up there. Her name's Kieran White. You are right up there with them. That is fantastic. That is incredibly ingenious to be able to do like that. That is awesome. Kudos to you, my friend. That is awesome. I would have never thought about doing that. I would have just been searching for another plugin, and I'm so proud. That's awesome. You should be impressed with yourself. I think everybody watching should be impressed by yourself too, by you too as well. So that was what I had for news this week. Really cool meetups, 10th anniversary for WP Beginner, and why you should really upgrade to PHP 7 now instead of waiting on it to be forced on you later this year. I can't remember if I said that on earlier when we were talking about this on air, but WordPress 7 is going to be the default probably by the end of the year, so you'll have to deal with this at some point. So if you don't want it to have it forced on you and make sure that you have all the time to adjust and make changes, do it now, not at the end of 2019. So yes. Now, if you're just joining us, that was all of the news. We always go through the news, the tutorials, and the resources. Any of the links that you need to follow along are in the description of this video. So feel free, open it up, click through, and give the people who made this content some engagement so that we can keep doing all of this every week, because without them, this would be impossible. It would just be me staring at a camera and talking to you just about things that popped into my head, and that would not be a very good WordPress stream. So thank you, all of the content creators. I almost called them concrete creators, but thank you for them too, otherwise I wouldn't have a driveway. So and Kieran, I don't know if you're on YouTube as well, but Pablo is impressed by you as well. So I am really, that is some good stuff. So moving into the tutorials, the first one under the tutorials flag or tag or category, however you want to look at it, is a Divi Space article that's called, very aptly, how to make Divi run faster. And I know that every single person watching this, either live or as an archive, or walking past someone in the background and hearing this, wants to know how to make Divi faster. You want to know how to make every website faster that you build. You want to basically make them be instantaneous. So Divi Space goes through some of this, and they talk about different ways to get the speed, where you can check the speed using Pingdom, GT Matrix, and Google Page Speed. You do want to check on multiples because they will each give you slightly different things that you can address, so that will help bring all of them down. They talk about the best hosting that you can get, and we've talked about that in the past, where if you're on a slow host, there's not anything that you can do with the site itself, that you need to make sure that you are running the kind of hosting that you need for that site. That if you're running on a shared server, you may be a little slower than if you're on a VPS or a cloud. And if you're on managed hosting, then you may be on your have the most optimized server experience for WordPress that you can. So it's just different kind of things depending on what you need. They also talk about your PHP settings. And this is one I wanted to point out that I always forget exists, even though it's part of Divi. So click into the Divi Space link under tutorials. I want you to scroll down until you get to number 2, and it's just called PHP settings. But what this is inside Divi, you will see in the WordPress dashboard menu that you will go all the way to the bottom to the Divi options, and then there's one that is called Support Center. If you go into Support Center, what you will see is a system status update. You need to look at this and make sure that everything that you have is in the green. Because what this is a best practices, a recommended specs of what you need to be running to get the most performance out of Divi. You need a writable WP content directory. I mean, that's pretty standard. You really don't want it to be read-only. You need to look at the PHP version that you're running. We actually recommend for Divi 7.2. That meets or exceeds our recommendation of 7.2 or higher. So if you're running 7.2, that's something to look at. Your memory limit, that you might have the memory limit on your site sitting at 64 megs. We recommend 128 at minimum, and if you can allocate more to it, then that much better. But we really recommend that you have it on 128. So if you haven't updated that, then or have that as default somehow, check that so that you can get the memory limit up. Same for post max size. PHP a lot of times has a 32. We recommend 64 so that you can do that. There is also a max execution time. We recommend 180 max upload max file size. That is something that that can come into play and you not even realize it. That I've had media that just doesn't upload. That I'm sitting and I'm looking. I'm like, I don't understand why this file won't upload. And it's because it exceeds what I've said in the PHP and functions, I believe, of what I can upload to this server. So you can adjust how big of files you want. So that will adjust your performance. The max input time for 180 as well. The max input variables, max input vars, you're looking at 1000. And display errors, it says 0. So those are the recommendations on the Divi Support Center. So if you go into Divi and then into the Support Center from your WordPress dashboard, you'll see that and be able to get a rundown, a green to red rundown of what you're doing for optimization. They mention in the Divi Space article talking about plugins and theme conflicts. Those do happen. I actually have a child theme on one of my sites right now that is running PHP 5.6 functions in it that I didn't know, and that I can't update that site to 7 because it will break. So I've got to do something about that. But I mean that makes things slow down. Optimizing your images, we've talked about 100 times on here. Probably once a show we've mentioned that if you need a 400 pixel wide image, then you put in a 400 pixel wide image. Don't put in 1920 or 1080 or anything else. And then the fifth one they talk about is using a caching plugin. Makes a big difference. And then using a CDN is super important. That if you have especially if you have a worldwide audience, then having a CDN set up to deliver those files from the most local server possible is absolutely imperative for fast site speed. You don't want to be running off of a server in Alabama and having someone in Moscow try to load the site. That's just not going to be quick enough. So you need to make sure that you're pulling from a CDN, or at least having the files cached to be able to pull. And then the last thing they mention is minifying and compressing your files. This is super important. It makes them very hard to edit because, they're minified, but you shouldn't be editing all of your minified files anyway. So go into your Divi options and make sure that under the General tab that you have minify and combine JavaScript files and minify and combine CSS files enabled. That is really, really important. If you have those disabled for some reason, it will not affect your site performance in any way but improve. I've never heard of that. If you have had a reason that has messed anything up in the past, let me know, because I have literally never heard of any issues with minifying stuff. Other than, human readable, going in and editing them. And then there are unminification things that you can do when you need to edit. So yes, those are what we suggest. Also, I want to also remind you guys that if you haven't updated Divi in the past month or so, then you need to update, because we have put in performance optimization updates that you can go and see a tremendous difference, probably 50% to twice as fast on your sites just by making this update. So please go update, and you'll see a significant increase in site speed. So with all of that, hopefully you guys will have a significant improvement in site speed as you're trying to incorporate those new practices into your different sites that you're working on. I did miss apparently a lot of comments while I was going through that one, so I want to see. Tobias says, I do speed optimization on WP sites pretty much full time, that it's an art to optimize site, that there's so many things to optimize. Yeah, going back to where I said that I didn't know that there was a child theme on one of my sites that was running a specific to 5.6 function. It was just it was a child theme that I had bought and that I really, really liked the look of, and that I didn't even think that there would be anything custom like that in it, and apparently there is. So there's an art to doing it, and it is easy to overlook things that you might take for granted. That Judy says that must be like a miracle to your clients, that really is true, that you take a professional doing it, like you take a DIYer, which is great. And you learn so much. I mean, all of us probably started as DIYers. I know I did, of just learning little things to do to improve site speed. And then you hand it to a professional after doing everything that you can, and they reduce it even further. And it's just like, oh my goodness, you are a wizard. And that is, you're right. That really must seem like a miracle to some people. Uncle Social, I uploaded 81 20 megabyte images to an Umbrico site this week, and I thought it took a long time to upload. And it's a CMS from Denmark, Tobias said. Good point, Judy. If any of you are finding my info a bit overwhelming, and I know that I do talk fast, I'm sorry about that. Read the article, and also check your .htaccess file to see if there's code that overrides your PHP 7. I've never done that. It's a good point, Judy. I am not good at checking htaccess files. Yeah, good point. And Michael Fass asks, is it faster if you're using a child theme of Divi? That depends. Honestly, I say that at just the moment that Tobias says it depends on what you've got in your child theme. Sometimes it can be. I tend to run a child theme because I like tweaking stuff, and whenever I tweak stuff and do PHP adjustments, especially when I'm working on any kind of PHP adjustment, I run a child theme because updating it will wipe all of those updates out. So it would be so it would totally be worth it to use a child theme and faster that way. I've used child themes to improve speed before by simply removing code that they were loading things, they were unqueuing things that didn't need to be there. So by running a child theme, I was able to completely customize what I wanted in there and take out anything that I didn't. So doing stuff like that using a child theme should make it faster. Just putting on a child theme and not doing anything probably won't. It's not going to really make it any slower from the way that I understand things, in my experience, should make it any slower by running one. But if you load it up like a gigantic framework type thing, just putting new stuff in it, it can slow it down. But if you take stuff out, you adjust it right, you do everything that you need to optimize it, then yeah, it absolutely can speed it up. But it depends on what you're doing with it. Judy said, some of us are competent beginners learning fast every day. Thanks to you all. I appreciate that. The talking about being a competent beginner, that is where I still kind of feel that I am. And I know that that's not the case. And I think everybody has this feeling sometimes. So don't ever discount what you know, because there are people that who can learn from you and that you can do so well on. That whenever I do stuff like this, I learn something every week from you guys. That I do. Y'all are talking about something. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't know that. Like talking about Kieran's use of the conditional logic field to sort out photo licenses. Like that's crazy awesome. Like I wouldn't have even thought about being able to do that. So I love the term competent beginner, but I think you're selling yourself short a little bit there on what to do. And then Daryl says, I have a plugin that I've modified for a couple of customers, and if I don't use a child theme, it breaks when I upgrade Divi. Yeah, that will absolutely happen. That's how it does. Yeah. That's why I always suggest a child theme if you've done any kind of customization. Also, at that point, if you update the plugin, it will break, that kind of thing. Okay, and Judy is putting an example in the chat of what she's mentioned about the htaccess of showing the PHP 7. That I chose PHP 7 in my cPanel, but it didn't implement. My host support told her that she could comment out the following bit of code in htaccess. And Judy, if for some reason that doesn't post, tweet me about it and I'll post it, or hit me up on Facebook and I'll copy and post it that way too. I'm going to actually load up on Twitter just in case. I just want to make sure that code posts, because sometimes YouTube is weird about what other people can post. So thanks for doing that. I really appreciate it. And I see Alex on Facebook says hi. Hi. And I see that Mac joined us on there, popped up. So hi, Mac. I want to move forward from the how to make Divi run faster, because I know that will actually continue on, continuing the discussion in the comments. So I'll be back to it, I'm sure. I wanted to I wanted to post about it. Oh my goodness, we already posted about it. Talk about the Elegant Themes blog item, how to use a Pomodoro timer to increase your productivity. And this is something I cannot do. That I know so many people. There are so many people who can use Pomodoro timers and improve their productivity so well. That what it is that you are setting a particular time limit on being able to be productive. You choose a task or tasks. This is the breakdown that John uses in the article. You choose a task or task to be completed. Then you set a timer for 25 minutes. During that time, you are solely focused on that particular task. 25 minutes, you are honed in on whatever it is that you're doing. When that timer goes off, place a check mark or a sheet of paper to track your session, like where you are in that, and then take a short break. Do 3 to 5 minutes of whatever. Get up, walk around, play a video game, do whatever you do for 3 to 5 minutes. And then repeat those two steps, 25 minutes, 5 minutes, 25 minutes, 5 minutes, until you have 4 check marks. Then you take a 15 to 30 minute break. And then it says reset your checkmark count to 0 and reset the cycle. So you're doing this over and over again, giving yourself an on again, off again productivity schedule where you're not sitting there just staring at the screen, not getting any idea, like not having any ideas of what to do, where to go with the project or anything. And you're not just sitting slogging away at your desk like doing this, which I know we all do. It gives you a particular focus in on this time, and you know that you're going to be able to stop soon. My personality doesn't work with this. I feel really antsy and confined like this because it doesn't give me checkpoints. That by working on a timer, I can't do it. But I follow something along these lines of using a checkpoint system rather than quite like this, where I will, when I'm writing a lot of articles or coming up with different things for work, like different ideas and article titles and article ideas, all of this stuff, I will put individual like blocks of time or blocks of ideas. Like, okay, I'm going to write the first 2 in this list of 12 that I have to do. Then I'm going to let myself get up and wander around for a while or something like that. And then I'll do that over and over again until I have completed the entire task list. It's the same idea. It's just that time doesn't work for me. Same for running. I can't do intervals based on time. I have to do intervals based on distance. So what they do on here, what John has talked about, is a couple of apps that let you do this with the Pomodoro timers. You can actually get a tomato timer that you can use in the physical one. But it talks about how to do this and use it. And it's great. Like, I know so many people who can do this, and it works magnificently well for them. If it is something that works for you, then please give this a shot. And if you have never tried this, my challenge to you is to try this on Monday. It may work wonders for you, and you might be able to get so much more done on a Monday than you thought you could, because you're able to work on a timer, then know that you're going to take a break instead of just like, it's Monday, like most of us do. But you'll be able to do it on a timer and know that you're going to have breaks. I see that William on Facebook or on YouTube, excuse me, says productivity is tough for me on a timer. That Pomodoro also isn't great for him either. And like I said, I feel you. There are still ways to do it. Like I said, the checklist or the checkpoint, man, I was going to say check mark again, but checkpoint thing tends to work for me when I block the actual work off into something. But like I said, if you guys haven't tried Pomodoro timers before, give it a shot. It may not be for you. But the worst that can happen to you is that you've tried to work for 25 minutes, and I don't think any of our bosses will be mad if we do that. Also, just with that that same kind of thing in mind, just as a small tangent off of here, I always say, what have you got to lose? It's like people trying new foods. The worst thing that can happen is that you spit it out, and on the positive side, you might actually find something that that becomes your new favorite food. That's the way I feel about these productivity hacks like this. Is it may not work for you, but if you don't try it, you don't know. So the worst that you're out is 25 minutes of work, and at best, you figure out how to be so much more efficient at work that you get more free time, maybe, or that you get a promotion. So there are always more positives than negatives to almost every situation if you look for them. Like I said, it takes 25 minutes. So same as an episode of whatever you're watching. So just focus in on it. See if you can do it. I'm seeing, let's see, where was I at on there? Judy did post the code up there about the PHP from the HT Access. It's the ad. You'll see it starting at 2:41 p.m. On if you're in Central Time, 3:41 if you're in Eastern, and everybody else, I have no idea where you are. But it's PHP begin cPanel generated handler. It shows all of the stuff that you need to do there. Commented it out, not deleted it. And then Michael Fast asks any proposals for fast hosting, especially for Divi. Tobias offers SiteGround. I run SiteGround. I like it. I also had good luck on Cloudways. I know that there are members of the content team who use WP Engine. It does really well. I've been a fan of Flywheel in the past. Pretty much any of the managed hosts work really, really well. The one I really can't suggest is GoDaddy. It tends to perform the slowest on tests that we run. But I mean, if you have to, or you have a client doing it, I mean, it still works, but there are faster out there. Let's see. I'm having to read comments, so excuse me for 1 second. Michael says, Tobias from I know SiteGround is using shared hosting with no SSD, and the missing of SSD is what I think that makes things very slow. It really could. They might have options now that uses SSD hosting. I'm not 100% on that. And SiteGround's Tobias says they offer shared hosting, dedicated servers, or cloud storage. That Tobias himself is on the super-powered cloud hosting. I have, and Tobias says, all SiteGround servers run on SSD, by the way. Even the shared hosting plans. Hey, that's good for me. Good to know. I'm using whatever their WordPress option is, like the second or third tier of it, just for my stuff, and I've had good luck out of it. Even the shared hosting is fast. I moved from... I actually was faster at Cloudways, was the one that I used that was actually faster than SiteGround, but I had to move off of it because it took more specific energy to focus on every little detail. But it was faster because I got to pick and choose every last aspect of the servers that I was using. You give so much... I see William on YouTube say, I recently tried Cloudways, pleasantly surprised at how much freedom they have with relation to server locations and choices. And honestly, that was why I actually left, because I was for the hobby stuff that I was using. I mean, I was doing this as side hustle stuff, side hobbies, that kind of thing. The number of options and freedom there was more than I could put into it to make it work as well as I wanted it to. So I moved to SiteGround, which was a pleasant, a good medium of speed, and they could handle a lot more for me there within the price that I needed. So, like I've said, that's exactly, I understand that the freedom, super good there. Let me see where I'm at on time. So I've got a few minutes, so I'm going to scroll down and just kind of give a couple of highlights on this. The Aspen Grove Studios has an everything you need to know about caching your WordPress website. That while we're on the subject of site speed, if you're not running a caching plugin or you don't know where to start with them, this is a really good place to start, because it's talking about the difference in server caching, browser caching, SEO ranking, managed hosting, and all of that where you can really see what you need to do to start out with. I'm a big fan of Aspen Grove, and they break things down really well, especially if you're looking at, you've never really seen this kind of stuff and seen the kind of details, I guess, and all of the nuance and aspects that go into something. Aspen Grove does good on that. So Smashing Magazine had a really good one on how to integrate social media into your web design, or mobile web design, excuse me. And y'all know I love Smashing. This came out yesterday, and talking about things, it's not talking, excuse me, about things like social login, social follow, and that kind of stuff. Talking about, as she says, as the author says, I'm talking about drawing inspiration from the abbreviated way in which we talk to others, looking at all of this stuff. Adopting a social media inspired design could be helpful in quickly getting your message across on mobile screens. And that's really something that you can think about, because have you guys noticed hashtags just being a part of websites before? I have. And it stands out in such a way that I'm trained now to see that and know exactly what it is. Like it happens a lot, like trust marks in the design, like check marks, that kind of stuff, that if you see a user or an area that has a blue check mark beside it, I'm pretty much sure that you're going to take that, even if there is nothing actually verified about it, I'm pretty sure that you're going to take it more seriously because Twitter has trained us that way. Just that kind of stuff. Tobias commented just now that said, I posted a genius explanation of caching on Facebook that it was too long for YouTube. For those who don't know what caching is, should read it. Absolutely. Let me scroll down. Oh my goodness. I will do my best to read this for the people on YouTube, because this is worth reading and going through. Tobias says, I'm just going to move this to the other one so I'm not staring off into the distance from you guys. During a WordPress talk, Peter asked the audience, what is... Oh goodness, 3,485,250 divided by 23,235, and it's like, everyone fell silent. Someone pulled out their calculators to do the math, and finally someone yelled out the answer after a few seconds. Then the speaker asked the exact same question again. This time, everyone was able to immediately call out the answer. This is a great demo of the concept of caching. The initial time-consuming process was done once, then after that, the same question was asked, the answer was readily available and delivered much faster. The first visitor to a particular page on your site is asking the question, and your server provides the answer. The next time a visitor goes back to the same page, or the first one comes back and asks the same question, your server can provide the answer, which is the web page, much faster. Which is one of the most succinct ways that I've ever heard that put. So thank you for putting that out there, because that's actually something I do whenever I'm updating a new blog post or anything like that, or having to update an existing blog post. I make sure that I go into an incognito window and then load that page on my site so that it gets cached. I'm the one who has the slower connection, and all of my visitors will get the cached site then. So that is a great way to look at it and put it. So thank you, Tobias. I really appreciate you stepping up and writing that out and doing that, because that is a great way of putting it, and I am absolutely stealing that from you, because I will need to use that in the future with somebody, I'm sure. But I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen it put that succinctly in a long time, like just the way that it was easy to understand and for people to get. So I really do appreciate that. So there are a lot of tutorials on here. How to become an influencer in a niche with minimal effort. I liked this one because it's talking about the WP RSS aggregator plugin. That I've been looking at this plugin, trying to do that for a while, like just figure out a particular niche and then use this plugin to curate content. And this article really gave me a few ideas on how to do that. And then Torque Mag has a really good article at the very bottom. It's the last one under tutorials that is understanding robots.txt, why it matters and how to use it. This is also going to be very important because Google is changing the way, if I remember right, that it's going to be interacting with robots.txt. So you're going to absolutely want to know everything you can about it. So yes, you can create it, you can edit it, and they break down all of it. Let's see. Moving forward, I saw comments, so got a little bit distracted. Under the resources, just as we finish up, we got like 3 minutes where we need to finish up. The really cool things under here are firstwebdesigner.com put out a really interesting look at the WordPress plugin ecosystem that I'm always interested in. I mean, I work for a plugin company, a theme plugin company, so it kind of matters. So it's just the idea of looking at prime examples of what plugins are, how we use them, and that kind of thing. The Post Status posted a WCEU 2019 in review. Mentioned this before, mentioned it last week, that I love recap posts, and Post Status is always a fantastic resource. If you haven't ever checked out Post Status or don't know Brian Krogsgaard who runs it, this is your opportunity. WCEU is great, or Post Status is great, and I'm sure WCEU is great. I've just never been there. We have an overview and review of DataBox that is an analytics suite of for different kind of websites. We end up using DataBox at ET for a couple of things, and I am consistently amazed at how much easier it is to put together and see a report than Google Analytics. That if you're looking for an analytics suite, then DataBox may be something for you to check out. That there's good stuff in there. Then Pagely has another WordPress and performance digging into PHP, which is always going to be effective. Like always. And then Velocitize, I want to end at 2:59 with the article from Velocitize that is called "Don't Wait, Innovate." You like the way I delivered that? Because I do. No, but that's what it is. Like talking about how the website that you have should be an innovator. It should be the innovation driver for your business. If you wait too long to see what kind of changes are happening, it might be too late. And if you're not able to pivot on that, then it can be disastrous. And they talk about testing different products, seeing what resonates with customers, experimenting with different messaging. Honestly, if you go on social media and you have the super professional Twitter and Facebook handles like, today we're going to be talking about this, or versus, sup guys, we're talking about this today, how are you doing, that kind of thing, you'll see which one your audience responds to more. And you'll be able to adjust the way that your brand interacts that way, testing different headlines, webinars, just all of that, where they're talking about that if you're not innovating the way that you do your business and interact with your customers, that it might be too late for you to do by the time something happens where you need to. Really good article. Really like Velocitize. They are one of my favorite publications on the internet in terms of technology, so it's always worth checking out. So that's the last one on the list. So I technically made it through all of them, even though I didn't get to talk about all of them. But I am out of time, and I will have to see you guys next week. So thank you for tuning in. If you have come late in the show and didn't get to see the beginning, you can check out the entire thing on the Facebook or YouTube channel after this has gone offline, after we're not live. if you would like to know when I or any of the other Elegant Themes live streams start, then ring the bell on YouTube or tell Facebook that you would like notifications. Just subscribing doesn't get you that kind of notification, so that would be fantastic of you to do. On Tuesdays, we go through use case scenarios with Donyetta or Jason, showing you how to use Divi in a real life scenario. And then when we have a new feature release, Mac goes through and takes questions and runs through what that feature is. So at 6 a.m. Eastern on Facebook and YouTube. So that is always worth checking out. You know that he is fantastic at doing that. And if there are any features that you want to know about, you can search our Facebook and YouTube and find the streams that he's done on those and see the run through of those as well, which is what I do because I'm not watching a stream at 5 a.m. for me. But some of you guys will, because it's not 5 a.m. for you. So I really do appreciate you guys coming out. It's always fun. I hope that everybody in America had a fantastic holiday yesterday. I hope that everyone who's not in America still had a fantastic day yesterday and today as well. I see comments. I see Michael Michael telling me to open my LinkedIn from time to time. I've got a message. I'll have to remember to check that because I am never on LinkedIn. See everybody bookmarking resources. I see everybody. Sorry, I got distracted by another comment. I see everybody saying bye. I love you guys. Y'all have a fantastic weekend. I hope you have a magnificent week. And we will see you at the exact same time next Friday at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and Facebook. I will see you guys later. Bye, y'all.